In the worksheet called Row References, we're about to tabulate an East total here. Any number of ways to do this, perhaps easiest might be to begin with the AutoSum button. Remember, it's found in 2 locations in the ribbon. On the Home tab, it's off to the right in the Editing group, and as you would expect, on the Formulas tab over on the left-hand side. Let's click AutoSum. If we're trying to come up with an East total, we certainly don't want to add these numbers. We probably would want to add the 2 eastern cities here, Boston and New York. And I think a lot of people would approach the task this way. And certainly nothing wrong with that in any way. But what if the number of items here is going to grow? In other words, we might be additionally adding data in columns N, O, P eventually. Why not, instead of referring to specific cells here, why not refer to rows 4 and 5? And as I'm dragging across these with the mouse, look at the notation style. Sum of 4:5. Now that means rows 4 and 5. Press enter, we have an answer here. It's an unusual look at first, but it gets the job done, and it does have that flexibility of when we add new data, we don't have to readjust the formula. Of course, the data in cell A4 and A5, the text entries, are ignored here, and so we can get our total quickly. Similarly with Midwest, slightly different though, the cities are not adjacent to one another, but here too. We could begin with AutoSum, and then click row 7 for Chicago, comma, click row 12 for Cincinnati. A different look as well, but it means add up all the data in rows 7 and all the data in rows 12. Enter. And we're not going to do all these, but similarly with the South here, once again on just this example, AutoSum, our southern totals would be Atlanta from row 6, and that might be the only one, and possibly you might be including Houston as well, so possibly with a comma, Houston that way too, and enter. Using entire row references will make sense and simplify the look of certain formulas. In the next worksheet over, column references, these are likely to be used even more frequently. Suppose, for example, we want a total off here to the right, and maybe we're going to put it in column M temporarily. We want to know what the total salary is. Now the salaries in the example here in column H go all the way down to, as I double click the bottom edge, down to row 742. And we'd like to add up that data. And this might be a dynamic worksheet where the number of records changes from time to time. And so just as we saw with rows, we're going to put in a formula now that refers to columns. And once again, we'll make it simple with AutoSum. Again, we could start from the Home tab this time, use AutoSum, and then click on column H to add up the salaries. The reference here reads H:H. That's it. Enter. We've got an answer. We'll have to double click to make the data readable, and so we see our formula. Simply use the entire column reference. So we might add new records, we might take out records. Our formula doesn't have to be readjusted. Using entire column references, as we saw with row references too, makes sense. And you could imagine other columns here using different features here. If we wanted to know the average job rating, equal average would be one way to do this. We could then click column I here. That reads as I:I. The average job rating here is this. We want to simplify the display of it. Using entire column references does simplify the creation of any number of formulas, particularly if you're working with large lists of data.